Hello, my name is Aaron, and I'm a person that will be talking to you today about vitiligo, which is a skin disease that I have had most of my life, and I began to have it when I was 4 years old. And what I'd like to talk to you about today is not so much what is known about it, because there's a lot more that's not known than what is known. So what I'd like to talk to you today is about the things that aren't known about it, and that is how it impacts the person that has it. So I'd like to share with you today the concepts of how a person who has lived with it deals with it on a daily basis. A person once asked me if I had any pain from it, and it was funny because it caused me to stop and think whether I did have pain, and I realized that the real pain that I had was more the pain of separation, or the pain of being different, the pain of looking different. And as I thought about this myself, I realized that most people probably don't realize that they see you with it, and that it's a difference between them seeing you with it and you actually having it. Now, before we continue, I guess what I want to do is tell you a little bit more about myself, and that is that I grew up in a family of 10 siblings. I'm one of 10. And in our family, I was growing up during the late 50s through the late 70s or mid 70s as a young teenager. And throughout most of my life, what I found is that few people ever really wanted to ask me questions about it. They mostly looked at me. It was like hidden glances or side stares, but people always felt uncomfortable about just asking me. And I realized that growing up in my family, if it was anything that I probably felt the most, was the idea of not being acknowledged that I had it, And I think that played a very important role in how I dealt with it, because what was most important to me at that time was how I felt about my own self. And I really felt the need from my family, in a sense, to draw me in and provide the sense of belonging. So I share this because if you are a person that has children who have vitiligo, what I want to encourage you to do is to include them not only as part of the family, but to let them know that they are a part. And it seems kind of odd to say that, because this has to do more with the person that has it and how you feel about it. And oftentimes it's the idea of being excluded that you feel most. So it's the idea of being included that, in a sense, helps the person live with it. And when I was growing up, there wasn't too much known about it. There weren't many creams or things that you could use. It was more of a situation, if it doesn't hurt, if you're not necessarily dying, then you're okay. But people didn't realize that though physically I might not be dying, my self-image, my self-confidence was dying. And that in itself, within me, produced the need, as I was growing up, is how do I express that? How do I communicate, to other people what it's like to live with vitiligo? That it's not only, as people say, that beauty is skin deep, which is true, but oftentimes we get so caught up, a person that has vitiligo, you get so caught up on how other people see you, and not so much on how you see yourself. You get so caught up on how other people are looking at you, and not how you perceive your own life. And I think for me, this became very important as I became an adult, as I went into the workforce, as I began to launch my career in life coaching. And I began to realize that it wasn't always how people saw me, that it was how I saw myself. Now, another important point about vitiligo is that vitiligo is an autoimmune disease, which means that it has its own cycles, it has its own process that it works. And yes, diet, rest, and health, and all the things that contribute to health do impact vitiligo. However, what impacts vitiligo most is stress. Strangely enough, that's what impacts vitiligo. And there is some research that says that it's very directly connected to our central nervous system. And for me, I think what I found most important was how to lower or reduce my stress levels. I've come to realize that having the appearance that I have sort of makes me memorable. People remember my appearance, because another thing about vitiligo is that it is a disease that 1% of the population get it, which is a small percentage. So if you're in a group of 10 people, well, you'll be the only one. If you're in a group of 100, you may be the only one. So if you are someone that has it yourself, that's probably the most important thing you can do, is not so much learn ways to hide it, ways to cover it, but actually find ways to live with it. If you're in a business, if you have a certain career, and you have something to say, you'll be remembered because of your appearance. People will say, well, the person with a two-tone skin, or the person that has this color on his skin. Vitiligo in itself is not a disease that will end your life. It will change your life. It will impact your life. It will impact how people see you. For example, I'm right now in the process of planning a move to Colorado Springs from San Diego, California. And the idea of people that normally move that you might not consider, is how other people will see you, or that you will have to go through a process of being seen until people get used to you. And that's the idea with vitiligo, is that when you have vitiligo and you move to another area, you're going to be stared at for a while because you're a new, addition to the community, and you look different. And I think when I first began to see the real obvious changes in my hands or in my face, I didn't realize that. I thought that people were staring at me for personal reasons that had to do with me. But I realize now that it really isn't about me. It's just about people getting used to seeing me. And that was a very important thing for me, a very important discovery. And if you're someone that has vitiligo, I want to encourage you in that regard, that when you are in new settings, it's people getting used to seeing you, and that's really the process that people go through. And yes, oftentimes people may have questions that they don't ask you. Some people, who aren't familiar with it might wonder whether it's contagious, and I'll tell you right now that it's not contagious. It's not directly hereditary. I have 3 daughters, and they don't have, 2 daughters, and they don't have vitiligo. 3 grandsons, and they don't have it either. So, because also the other point about vitiligo is that the person that has it doesn't carry it. The idea is that it's the mother who carries the vitiligo. So the idea of, is going back to what I was sharing about when you go to another area, or when you're in a new job, or a new job situation, these are stresses that people that don't have it, they don't realize that the person that has it goes through. That it's more of a social, disease than anything else. And having made this point, I also want to, stress the idea that research is definitely needed for vitiligo. And we need research not only for the causes out there. So if you're a young person out there who is looking and seeing this video or watching this video, and you're a student, and have vitiligo, I want to encourage you that might be a field that you might want to, go into and to do the research and learn more about it yourself. I didn't educate myself as much as I would like to. There's much more that I could learn about it. But if you're out there with someone that is going to school, I would encourage you, why not? And if you're a parent of a child that has it, again, when a child is going to a new school, when it's in a new community, reinforcement is very much important. It's very needed, and it's very important. And it makes a difference, And reinforcement a lot of times has to do with asking a person, how do you feel about it? What kind of thoughts go through your mind, Those are the type of things that I think that a person who has vitiligo wants the opportunity to express, is how they feel about it. What are their thoughts? Because getting these things out of the way is what helps you adjust, helps you adapt, to a community. Not so much to adjust so that people can be content with you, but so you can be content, and so you can enjoy a full life as a person, in this world, who looks different, looks unique, has a different appearance, but has a lot to offer because of your experience. So today, I am really thankful that I had this opportunity to come before you to talk to you about vitiligo. And my name is Aaron Huerta. I can be reached by email at everemerging at yahoo.com if you choose to email me. And I just want to encourage you once again that if you're someone that has it, the world is out there for you. Don't withdraw. Don't allow yourself, to see yourself or treat yourself as a pariah or someone that needs to be, set aside. Many people look at the idea of surviving vitiligo. I don't. I look of thriving in spite of it, because that is the key, So I want to thank you this day for taking this time to view this video, and for letting me share with you my views and my ideas on living with vitiligo. Thank you very much.